Welcome, everyone. Today, I want to show you something that has real implications for how we do research. It could act as a possible thinking partner for your research documents. It's called NotebookLM, and it's a Google tool that lets you upload your own sources, such as articles, papers, reports, policy documents, and then query across them intelligently. What makes it different from a search engine or a chatbot is that it is only using your uploads. No hallucinations from the internet. Everything it tells you is grounded in your uploaded sources. I've organized today's demo around 5 capabilities that map directly onto common research workflows. Keep in mind that paid Gemini plans offer higher daily limits for uploads, audio video overviews, and deep research capabilities. So before I dive into one of the demo notebooks, I just want to give you a glimpse of a brand new notebook. And just to back up even further, this is my main landing page for NotebookLM. You'll see featured notebooks at the top, which are interesting to browse through. These featured ones are The Atlantic and The Economist, but they vary, and you can see many, many more of them. And then it's going to show you your recent notebooks. So I'm going to create a new one and just give you a glimpse of that upload screen. So here you could upload a link, you could upload your files, websites, items from your Google Drive, copied text, anything from your desktop. This is where you would do that. Once you upload those sources, you'll be allowed to select them and use them for whatever queries you put in this search box. I'm going to talk about 5 different capabilities today: competing theories, cross-domain synthesis, exploratory podcast generation, pedagogy and teaching, and finally, pattern discovery. My first demo has to do with surfacing competing theories in your papers. I've loaded 4 foundational texts in a new notebook: Eagly's role congruity theory article, Shine's Think Manager, Think Mail work, Conter's tokenism work, and Crenshaw's intersectionality framework. These are papers that are known to many scholars, but perhaps not everyone has really thought about where they agree and where they break with each other. Here's my notebook with those 4 articles uploaded. And if you notice what's happening here, it's not summarizing each paper separately. It's locating the fault lines between them. It's correctly identifying that contour and intersectionality have incompatible assumptions. Contour says get to critical mass. Intersectionality says it's not just numbers, it's which bodies and identities are in the room. If you were writing a lit review, this output is the skeleton of your theoretical framework section. And from here, you could put any additional questions you have for those 4 texts and generate what you could describe as a conversation between these authors in these articles. Cross-domain synthesis is my next demo. And this is actually the one I find the most intellectually interesting and the most useful for research. For this, I've uploaded 3 papers from completely different fields. So Steele's identity threat work from social psychology, Brunn's consumer behavior research on brand authenticity, and Edmondson's foundational management paper on psychological safety. And the question I asked it was, what underlying mechanisms connect these papers? NotebookLM identified that all 3 are really studying the same underlying mechanism. What happens to authenticity and self-expression when people or organizations feel under threat of judgment? Steele says individuals suppress authentic behavior when they fear confirming a stereotype. Edmondson says teams suppress authentic contributions when they fear interpersonal risk. And Brunn says brands suppress authentic identity when consumer trust is fragile. This is the kind of theoretical synthesis that might anchor a genuinely novel paper. Next, for the exploratory podcast, I uploaded the Gender Equality Index, published by the European Institute for Gender Equality in 2025. I'm going to play a few seconds of what NotebookLM reported or produced from this report.
50 years. It really is a staggering timeline when you put it in human terms like that. We so often think of equality as this imminent reality. We assume it's just around the corner, or that, we've practically already achieved it. Right, like the hard work is done. Exactly. But when you look at the raw data, it tells a much longer, much slower, and frankly, far more complicated story. And that data is exactly what we are looking at today. We are going deep into the newly released Gender Equality Index 2025. Yes. This is put together by the European Institute for Gender Equality, or EIGE. And the mission for this deep dive is to extract the most critical findings from their massive report and fact sheet. And it is massive. Oh, it's a brick of a report. Yeah. But
Notice what that is. It's not a text-to-speech reading of the document. It's two AI hosts having a genuine conversation, making analogies, asking follow-up questions, noting things that surprise them. This index is exactly the kind of report that matters in a variety of fields, but almost nobody reads them cover to cover. It's very dense, it's full of country scorecards and composite indicator methodology, and it comes as a PDF with no audio version. Unlike McKinsey, for example, which has a communications team and a SoundCloud channel, the European Institute for Gender Equality doesn't produce any kind of podcast version of this. So NotebookLM can fill that gap. This is something that might be useful for auditory learners, for those with reading disabilities, and just for commuters if you want to listen to the report in air quotes during your car ride or commute. This next demo is one for those of us who teach. It's about pedagogy and seminar prep. I've loaded 5 readings from a graduate seminar on gender and organizations. I've asked it, what are the 5 core theoretical debates that a newcomer has to understand? And then I asked it to structure a study guide using this question and sources. So you could even proceed to build a quiz on that. And I just want to be clear that this doesn't replace the judgment of a scholar who knows this literature, but it could give you a scaffold to use, and it lets you arrive at that intellectual work faster. And you'll see those tools again in the studio menu on the right-hand side, the same place you would find the AI podcast generation. The next point is not a demo, but this capability is important as well. It's pattern discovery beyond human cognition. So this may be where you upload quite a variety of different abstracts from, say, a few different overlapping, somewhat related journals. And then ask about methodological trends, theoretical gaps, and recurring assumptions that appear that might not be visible just reading them one at a time. So here is where you might scan for those trends, look for those gaps, challenge those assumptions, and also pick up any outliers or anomalies. In closing, I just want to emphasize that this doesn't replace scholarly judgment. It accelerates that part of research that is time consuming, but not intellectually distinctive. So you can spend more time on the parts that are. So for your research, that might be faster lit reviews, sharper theoretical framing, cross-domain discovery. For teaching, it might be generating study guides, creating discussion questions, or just producing things in more accessible formats. And it might be for podcast generation, for turning dense publications into something that's more accessible for a broader audience. Again, you can get to this from at notebooklm.google.com, and it's free with a Google account. Thank you.